Thanks for joining us, and I'm David Balzen on behalf of CXOinformer.com. My guest today is Steve Arreola, Chief Product Officer at Filice. Steve is a subject matter expert in employee benefits, the health savings account field, and financial awareness related to employee benefit choices. And we'll be sharing some insight into benefits consulting industry, what's trending, changing, and evolving in that space. Steve, thanks for taking some time to speak with me today. I really appreciate it. Would you mind just starting us off by sharing maybe a little bit more about you and your background?
Thank you, David. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. Steve Arreola with Filice Insurance Agency. I was born and bred here in San Jose, California, and we've actually been in our San Jose office now since 1990. I've been here 31 years now, doing the same thing in the same office all this time. So it's great to have such continuity here with our business and our staff. And it's been a fantastic ride, and I'm looking forward to hopefully, have a goal to make it to my 50th anniversary here, and we'll see. I guess I'm well on my way. I thought it sounded crazy a few years ago, but now it's starting to get there. So
that's great. How did you get into this industry?
My best friend Ron Filice started this business right before I got here. I was in San Diego for a year after college, and he had recruited me and said, "Hey, I've got this business. It's employee benefits." And I think actually we just called it medical insurance back then, because that's all it really was, just selling one line of, one product, maybe a dental plan here or there. But it was really just called, can we, talk to someone about your medical insurance? So we just started the business, started cold calling out of the phone book and magazine advertisements, anything we can get our hands on. We just started calling anybody in the area and just really started aggressively, pitch in their medical insurance, and account by account, we, slowly became successful, hired more staff, and now we have well over 100 employees currently, but in multiple offices throughout California too.
That's great. How, if you think back over the last 3 to 5 years, a lot's been going on. How is your industry maybe significantly different now than it was perhaps 3 or 5 years ago?
I think the biggest thing in the last few years with the Affordable Care Act coming into play in 2014 is one thing where employers have to offer a health care plan or pay a penalty for not offering a program. Most of the employers that we dealt with already had a plan, so it was just keeping them in compliance, making sure that the offer of coverage or the amount that they paid for that health plan was enough to satisfy any requirements there. So that's been going on now since 2014. But I think in the last five or 6 years, there's been a big push towards automation of benefits. The rates themselves, there's not a huge fluctuation in the rates, where we're primarily saving employers 20, 30, 40% of their premium by changing their health plan. And that was kind of what we did in our early days for the first couple of decades. Now we're trying to bring value to the client because the rates are pretty balanced between the highest deductible plans are lower in premium. There isn't that huge spread that there used to be over a decade ago, where you can change somebody's program and save them a lot of money. Now we're trying to redirect the dollars that they're spending on healthcare, trying to make the employee or give the employee a richer program overall with the benefits that they have, and maybe adding health savings account, a health reimbursement arrangement. There's all sorts of supplemental plans, like a supplemental accident plan is really popular nowadays. Even critical illness and supplemental cancer plans are coming into the mix. So we're really trying to tailor the benefits. So I think the biggest thing that I saw coming across here in the last few years really has been employee choice, making sure that the employee can really customize their benefits package. And with the technology platforms that are out there, it doesn't put, overburden an HR department to offer all of these different programs if we can bundle it all into a simple employee interface. And we have multiple partners that we deal with to plug all this information in online, have the employees enroll. So really the virtual no paper experience is kind of what has taken over in the last, 5 to 6 years or so.
That's great. It's really evolved a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you think is often the most misunderstood about your industry, or the type of services that you provide?
Well, I think first of all, the one thing, as the product officer here, I'm real big on educating people on those choices. So I mentioned that, we do have, I do try to put in as many programs as possible with varying deductibles. And I try to tailor the plan towards, maybe a young family starting out, maybe someone who has more claims than somebody else, whether they're single or family, whatever that might be. So I really try to make it where there could be a number of possibilities for people to enroll with their employer with, different programs. So really just the understanding of that program, primarily the health plan to start with. A lot of people might misunderstand, for instance, that their deductible is all they have to worry about, and they ignore a more important figure, in my opinion, is the maximum out of pocket or the maximum annual co-payments that they could have to make, which includes the deductible, but often that maximum liability on a higher deductible is right about the same amount as the low deductible plan. And typically the employee is probably going to get a benefit from the higher deductible plan, primarily with lower premiums that they have to pay out of their paycheck, and or funding from an employer in the way of dollars into a health savings account, for example, or an allowance into a health reimbursement arrangement. So when an employee adds up everything that they would get as far as the high deductible health plan with lower premiums and savings from their paycheck and what the employer may give them, when they add that into the equation, typically the higher deductible health plan is going to be a better choice for them, even if they have a lot of claims. Obviously, if they don't have many claims, they're definitely going to be better off. But I like to make people aware that even if you have large claims, usually when you add everything into the equation, you are probably going to be better off on that high deductible health plan. So that's kind of where I start. Just want to make sure people understand that. And then I say, hey, you are saving money out of your paycheck. Your employer now offers this supplemental injury and accident plan. So if your kids fall off their bike, or if you're, walking down the street and fall off the curb, whatever it is, there are programs out there that pay on top of what your health plan would pay. And that's where they're very, very inexpensive, those supplemental injury and accident plans that I try to layer in to their healthcare portfolio.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. We're still going through COVID-19. It's changed almost every industry you can think of. Has the disruption of COVID-19 think of it this way, has it forever changed your business, your product or service or business model in any way? There's going to be some changes, obviously, that are temporary in nature. And there's some that I think, other businesses I've talked to, it's made a permanent change in the way that they operate. Does that kind of resonate with your particular industry and business model?
Yes, and I'm probably going to say it probably resonates with many businesses, and not necessarily ours more than others, as far as we're in a new day and age of what we're communication. And first we build the product for the employees, but now we have to package it and educate them and get all of that going. So with the technology platforms now, and where in many of my clients, the employee workforce has gone virtual. So we have some employees that have moved out of the area. So those gathering the staff for an employee benefits meeting in person is probably going away, or probably going to be less common, and more common are going to be the employer or the employee meetings where we do this over a Zoom or online platform is really what's going to be dominant here in the next I think forever, really. So just communication now is going to be online. Our benefit meetings now can be recorded and people can watch those later. So just really, there's no way the employers, many employers can't really gather their entire workforce for these meetings now. So I think just virtual, electronic benefit guides, you usually hand those out in person, but now we have, we print those out, or we, instead of printing them out and all the little tchotchkes that go with it, we're pretty much just doing those online. And, good news is people can have those at their fingertips anytime they want. They aren't going to lose their paperwork anymore or anything like that. So yeah, I think that might be common for many businesses now, but we're just going to, kind of roll with how this plays out. And we do think going virtual here with our meetings is probably the way to go. And maybe COVID just sped things up a little bit from our end, because it was already going that route with, when Zoom first came out, we started doing some meetings even pre-COVID. And I think that, it seems like, that seemed to be a little more convenient to reach the entire staff that way. Yeah, COVID just kind of sped things up now, and now
For sure.
kind of where we're going there. But I think that's it's not necessarily affecting our industry more so than others. We're just kind of rolling with it and going with what our clients do. And then we have many of our clients who are the employees. We have a lot of schools and as they go back to work, and a lot of blue collar shops as well. We are doing the in-person meetings there, or will be once we get through COVID, and once it's safe to do that. There are going to be definitely needs for that as well. So we're not entirely going away from it, but we're going to incorporate everything with technology and online platforms as much as we can.
Selecting benefits and for a business, it is one of those types of things that at times can really affect your employees at a very personal level. It touches a personal area of their life. Sometimes it's they could be going through a life-changing event that involves the use of the benefits. I'm just wondering, in the kind of business that you're in the role that you've had, has there been any like life-changing types of things that have happened to either you, your employees, or your companies as a result of, what your company does?
Well, I think now we get into an area where we know what our core benefits cover, or medical, dental, vision, life insurance. And now we're going into even more as far as, hey, what can we do? Personally, I went through a situation with my father where I believe he was underfunded on his plan for long-term care. So, having money to possibly have an in-home provider come out for more hours is something that I believe people should really be looking at. So just having a plan for that, or if they had to go into a nursing home, long-term care is going to be a real big topic, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. So that's something that people aren't planning for right there. So that's one area that I hope to educate people on, to save their money in a health savings account for future use for long-term care. So that's one angle there. I believe the mental health is really, especially now with COVID, mental health support programs, employee assistance programs are the new trend of what employers are looking at to provide for their employees, and give them a lot more counseling and people to talk to about those life events, confidential counseling there. So we have a number of employee assistance programs that we have been putting in for employers, and now that's part of what we offer. So there's so many things that are out there, and then with just on top of everything else, flexible spending accounts and voluntary life insurance, and so many things to round out benefits. But I believe the employee assistance programs are one that is a real big trending topic for many of our groups. And ones that employers want to put in, and those can be, affordable on there. Some are free with some carriers. When an employer buys their disability insurance through a carrier, they can get that, but some want a more robust employee assistance program and might spend a few dollars per month for each employee to have that. So
That's good. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, definitely needed in this day and age. That's, trying to make it where we're doing more than just employee benefits. We're trying to look out for that employee and keep them, satisfied with what their job offers. And we help our HR departments of each of those employers, build their package and really, in support of the employee to make them feel good about where they work.
Filice is one of the largest benefits consulting firms in California, and you're working with companies throughout the West Coast. Steve, I was hoping that we could wrap up our discussion today with you taking a few minutes to just tell us a little bit more about Filice.
Yes. Well, like I said, with Filice, we've been doing this over 30 years now. We are actually Filice Insurance. We are in San Jose and throughout California, but we are an Acrisure agency partner. So we are part of a national firm, which gives us resources throughout the country. And one of the, a lot of those things that are offered are, the great software that we have to develop the product with our clients. We have an interactive system where they get to choose and see the benefits right up front and all the costs, and we go over that interactively online. So really just, building the product is one area. The packaging of that product, which, as I mentioned, with the employee having a place to go online, having a benefit guide, having rate sheets, whether they're online or even just PDF rate sheets as well. That's just something that we do. So how we package it to the employee and educate them is a big area. And then our compliance division is fantastic as well. So any HR department really relies on our compliance team, and they know that they can get all the required postings as it relates to their benefits programs, know how to build an employee handbook, get a summary plan description. We keep them informed about the deadlines that come up each year, whether they have to file a 5,500 where companies over 100 100 employees have to do that each year. And also companies that have over 50 employees each year have to file ACA forms, 1095 C forms that they have to distribute to the employee, telling them that they had an offer of coverage each year. So our compliance division is very, very busy with all of our clients, helping them out as well. So just trying to keep all of those areas, straight is a big thing. But as far as, the one thing I really love doing is just really teaching somebody that, hey, you can go on this higher deductible plan. You have a program where you can save money into a health savings account. Did you know that you can invest your money in your health savings account, depending on the financial institution they use? If there's a buildup of funds in there, try to, if you wanted to invest in stocks or bonds, mutual funds, whatever it is, there might be an investment vehicle within your health savings account that you have overlooked. There's an annual limit that you did not put in each year. I try to teach them to max out their health savings account if they have one. And to keep that money, as I mentioned, for future use, you have a medical retirement account, which, like I said, can really come in handy when you have medical expenses after you retire, and long-term care is where I'm going to, concentrate on getting as much money in my health savings account as possible. So that's just one area there, but that's kind of what we do is just, just benefits and so many things now in regards to that. It's just, the industry has changed so much where we're not just saying, can we quote your medical insurance anymore? There's so many other aspects to it, so many other layers and that we have to do to maintain the benefit package now.
Well, this has been great. Steve, thanks for the time you've given us today. And I hope you'll come back again soon. And to all of you who listened today, my guest was Steve Arreola, Chief Product Officer at Filice Insurance Services. Be sure to connect with Steve on LinkedIn or at filice.com, FILICE.com. I'm David Balzen on behalf of CXO Informer. Have a great day.